There was a form of law on this planet that was invented to govern ships, cargo, ports, import, export, banking. That's what it was made for. And somehow it's being used on you. And most people will go their entire lives, pay their taxes, go to their court dates, hand over their license, and they will never once ask, does this actually apply to me? They won't ask because nobody taught them to ask. But the question exists. It always existed. And that question is what this whole video is about. Maritime Admiralty law is one of the oldest bodies of law in the Western world. It was developed primarily by the British Empire to regulate commerce on the high seas, ships, cargo, foreign ports, and merchant banking. It was never designed to touch you. In 1913, the United States passed the Federal Reserve Act, handing control of the national money supply to a private banking institution. 20 years later, on March 9, 1933, President Roosevelt signed the Emergency Banking Act. The United States was declared insolvent, bankrupt, and with no gold to back its debt, it needed collateral. That collateral was its citizens. The Banker's Dictionary of Banking Terms defines a certificate as a paper establishing an ownership claim. Look at your birth certificate. It documents your date of issue, a serial number, and a registered description, and an authorized informant. It reads exactly like a warehouse receipt because legally it functions like one. Look at your driver's license, your passport, your social security card. Your name is not written in normal capitalization. It's written in all capital letters. In Maritime Admiralty law, that formatting has a specific legal meaning. It represents a corporation, a legal fiction, an artificial entity that happens to share your name. You are a natural person. That name in all caps is not you. It is a vessel, and the law applies to the vessel, not to you. When you walk into a courtroom, you walk through a wooden gate or rail. In legal architecture, that rail is called the bar. Crossing it symbolizes boarding a vessel. Once you cross, you are now under Admiralty jurisdiction. The judge is not acting as a judge. He is acting as a captain, an officer of a bank, settling commercial disputes. Everything in that court has a monetary value assigned to it. Every case is ultimately a banking transaction. The Romans had a concept called capitis dimitio maxima, the maximum reduction of civil status. It means the complete legal erasure of a person's standing, a free man reduced to nothing. When your name is written in all capitals on a legal document, this is the same principle being invoked. Your natural person is legally erased and replaced with a corporate fiction. This is not a theory. This is how Admiralty law has functioned for centuries. Let me tell you how they did it. It wasn't a war. It wasn't a revolution. It wasn't even a lie. Well, not technically. It was a word. One word changed the legal definition of what a person is. In the original law, a person was a human being, flesh, blood, soul. Under Maritime Admiralty law, a person is a corporation, an artificial entity, a legal fiction. And when they made that switch, everything that once applied only to businesses and ships now applied to you. One word, one redefinition, and 300 years of legal precedent collapsed onto your shoulders without your knowledge or consent. Here's what that means in practice. Driver's licenses, building permits, vehicle registrations, tax filings, gun permits, work permits, marriage certifications, birth and death certificates. All of these are contracts. And all of these contracts use the word person, the corporate person, not you. When you sign them, and most people sign without reading, sign without questioning, sign because everyone else signs, you are volunteering yourself into a jurisdiction that does not apply to you by nature. You are signing the vessel into the port. And once you're in that port, they are the captain. Now, here's where it gets deeper. The courts, the law enforcement officers, the lawyers, the judges, they're not working against you because they're evil. They are working within a society, a law society that created its own language, its own rules, its own world. And in that world, statutes, acts, and regulations, they function as laws. They can only apply to members of the society that created them. You were never asked to join that society. You were just handed that paperwork and told to sign.
Every courtroom in America is architecturally designed to place you inside an admiralty proceeding. The bar, the bench, the dock, nautical terms all. You didn't board a ship, but legally you did.
I want to bring something in here because I'm a Jew. And there's something my people have known for thousands of years that the world is only now discovering. Inside courtrooms and law libraries, the name has power in Kabbalah. And this is not a metaphor. This is an operating principle. A name is not just a label. A name is a vessel. A name contains the spiritual signature of the thing named. The Arizal, the master Kabbalists, taught that the name given to a child contains the soul's purpose. The name is the channel. And the Zohar, the central text of Kabbalah, is explicit about this. There is a concept called the Tselem, the image, the form that precedes the body, the legal system you're living under. It created a Tselem of you, a legal image, a shadow corporation that wears your name, and it deals with the shadow, not you. This is not new. The Egyptians did this in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. The first thing they did to the Israelites when they wanted to enslave them was redefine their status, change their legal standing, reduce them from guests to property. Pharaoh didn't need chains to start. He needed paperwork.
The Torah knew thousands of years before Maritime Admiralty law was codified. The sages understood that a name is the most powerful legal instrument in existence, and that whoever controls your name controls you.
So, what do? You start with your name. In any court proceeding, any legal encounter, you are a natural person. You are not the corporation in all capital letters. You state, I am the natural person. I do not consent to represent the artificial person. You can, or you used to be able to take judicial notice of the judge's oath to office because every judge swears to uphold the Constitution. And under the Constitution, you have rights that Admiralty law cannot touch. You are not governed by statutes. You are not a member of the law society. You are a living human being, which means you are only bound by one law. Do not damage another person or their property. That's it. That's the entire foundation. Everything else, the permits, the registrations, the filings, those are contracts. And a contract requires your informed consent. You gave consent because nobody explained what you were signing. That's not binding. That's manipulation.
Freedom is not taken back. It's remembered. You were born with it. They just convinced you to set it down.
Let me be specific, because this is not just philosophy. First, understand the difference between a right and a privilege. A right is something you were born with. It cannot be given to you because it was never taken from you to begin with. And it cannot be waived without your explicit informed consent. A privilege, that's something granted by a governing body, something that requires a permit, a license, a registration. Now ask yourself, is traveling on a public road a right or a privilege? Because if it's a right, and legally, historically, constitutionally it is, then requiring a driver's license to exercise that right is a form of coercion. It's converting a right into a privilege and then charging you for it. That conversion, that switch, is what Maritime Admiralty law was designed to make seamless, invisible, normal.
Every time you accepted a license, a permit, a filing, you placed yourself on the scale. This is how you step off.
Second, language. The Law Society created a language that looks like English, but it isn't English. They call it legalese. And in that language, words like person, vehicle, resident, individual have different legal meanings than what you think. Vehicle in Admiralty law means a commercial convoy, a car being used for profit, not your personal automobile. Resident in Admiralty law implies consent to jurisdiction, not just geography. Individual can refer specifically to the corporate artificial person. These substitutions are how they slip the net over your head without you feeling it. And the simple solution: demand definitions. In any legal proceeding, you have the right to demand that every term used against you be legally defined. If the term they're using doesn't apply to your natural person, the proceeding has no authority over you. But here's the thing I want to actually leave you with. Because the legal system, as broken as it is, it's a reflection of something that happens inside you every single day. What is the name that you give yourself? Not your legal name, not your corporate name, the name you call yourself in the dark, in the quiet, when nobody's watching. Because most people have been living under an inner law that is just as fraudulent as Maritime Admiralty law. They inherited definitions from their parents, from their culture, from their failures about who they are, what they're worth, and what's possible for them. And nobody asked for their consent. Nobody said, "Do you agree to be defined this way?" They just signed because everyone else was signing.
The real prison was never the law on the books. It was the law you accepted about yourself.
The Vilna Gaon taught that the greatest battle a person fights is the battle with their own inner constriction, their own Mitzrayim, their own Egypt. The Hebrew word Mitzrayim, Egypt, literally means the narrow place, the constricted place, the place where you believe you cannot breathe. And just like Maritime Admiralty law was built on substitution, a natural person replaced by an artificial one, the inner constriction is built on substitution too. The real you, the one with inalienable rights, with divine purpose, with a name that was given by heaven, gets replaced by the corporate you, the manufactured identity, the vessel that other people defined. The way out is the same Either way, you state I am the natural person, and I do not consent to represent the artificial one. Every right you have, every real right, cannot be given to you. It's always yours. The only thing they could ever do was convince you to set it down. Don't set it down anymore.